Welcome back to the dopest show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer, and this is my sidekick, Sasha. I spent most of my 20s in federal prison, but I've been off heroin since April 9, 2010. Got a lot of stories about the dumb stuff I did to get put in prison. I've also got a lot of stories about the crazy stuff that happened when I was actually in prison. And, God forbid, you end up in prison. You won't have to make some of the same mistakes I made. So, this is a very interesting story. I told it way back at the start, but Graybeard was a big part of this. His actual name's Cornelius Porter. He goes by Tyler, though. He's Muslim. Good friend of mine. He's out managing a DC Walmart right now. I'll talk about him. I'll do another story separately on him instead of giving it away. But incredible person, incredible story. He'd been in 17 years when I got back to the low security. And anyway, so there's a whole other story about this guy named Riverside. Riverside was a big, bald black dude. He had muscle, big old gut, but big old cannonball shoulders, cannonball muscles. You know, he's benching mid to high 300s, and he's just a tank. He's a tank. Middle age, he was a cook, made a lot of money being a cook. Cook is a big money job because it's guaranteed money. The kitchen workers got to sneak the food out past the guards that pat you down. The cooks sell it to the kitchen workers in the kitchen. No risk. I mean, they don't got to get it past anybody. They hand it off in the back. So they're guaranteed to make money. Oh, man, they're making a lot. They're making a tremendous amount. Some of the cooks, there's a chicken man at the medium, $60,000 in chicken went missing. They brought in the people from Texas to investigate that. He's selling chicken 7 days a week. But anyway, Riverside got clemency. Man, you never seen a big old tough gangster cry like a baby. I stood in the cell, in the stall next to him in the toilet, talking to him, telling him, man, it's good. Because they just told him one day, imagine you've been in prison 15 plus years, and they tell you, you got to pack up now. You're out. You got clemency. You got to go. They got to get you out because if something happens to you, it's on them. It could be a lawsuit. So they rush you out of there. And it was like a shock to him, too much to handle, and he cried like a baby. And I was so happy for him. That made me cry. I did tear up a little bit. But, Riverside, I didn't like him at first. Thought he was a loud, just ignorant jerk. But then, and I thought he was racist too, just because of some of the stuff he said to some people. But then I started watching when I got back to the low security from the medium. Every day, as a cook, he made tons of money. He made rounds to T-Rex, old white biker with a big beard. Check on him. See how he's doing. Sit there, BS with him, maybe bring him a sandwich, something he'd fix back in the kitchen. On the opposite side, see, this is a dormitory setting at the low security. There's 4 different quadrants, it's a unique setup. But anyway, I'm in the middle of the 4-man room. So T-Rex is on one side. The old blind man, Sarge, is on the other side. He went blind in prison. Could see, went completely blind. Got him sitting in there. That prison doesn't have air conditioning. In the summer, he just has to sit in his cell all day. He doesn't have one of those sticks to walk or nothing. You got to watch out at nighttime if you go in the bathroom because he'll bump into you on accident. He's always grinning, just feeling his hand out there. But he was a good dude. Sarge was sitting there, and I'll talk about this later. Whenever I got TV, I'd make sure I couldn't stand these vampire shows, but I put them on for him because he could listen to them. See, the TV has a setup to where you turn your radio to a certain station and you can hear it. You turn your radio to that station, you can hear the TV. He could hear it from his room without sitting in the TV room. So he'd just sit in his room and he'd listen to him. When he listened to him, I'd walk by and look, just see, and he'd be sitting there smiling. But Riverside made rounds to him every day. And he was not a lot of people kicked it with Sarge. Everybody's friendly to him, holler at him, and he'd holler back at him. But he was lonely. Riverside would sit and talk with him for 20, 30 minutes a day. And I said to him one day, I said, Riverside, you got everybody fooled. You try to act like a big old mean, hard, just can't be bothered, too tough guy. I said, I seen you. I seen you making your rounds, T-Rex and Sarge. You're a big old softy. You feel bad for this, so you go and sit, and you're a big old softy on the inside, trying to act like a big old tough guy. And he looked like this the whole time and said it. When I got done saying it, he went, ah! And he laughed, which, that wasn't really too common. But anyway, when he left, he gave me the remote. There was only one remote for one of 7 TVs, okay? And there's only one TV that the volume played out loud, and that was this one. Anybody in Carolina Hall, there's a dude who goes by Tampa Benny. Benny, leave me a comment again in one of these sections if you hear this, please. I can't figure out where I talked to you before. on which video, which comment, but I mean, please comment again. I'd like to talk to you, buddy. He was at the medium, Tampa Vinny. I'll tell you, at the medium, Tampa Vinny was in the mix. Tough, just mean as could be. And then he gets to the low. He's like the nicest dude on the planet. I was like, what? He was just chilling. Went from mean, just prison politics, all this stuff, to just the nicest guy you could be. Big old tattooed dude. Big old tattooed dude. And he could tell you, at the medium, I didn't make any noise. I stayed quiet. I wanted to get out of that freak show. I wasn't in any type of mix or nothing. I stayed quiet as could be. Did my year in the drug program, got out of there and got back to the low. At the low, oh, I was something else. You knew me if you was in Carolina. First off, okay, but anyway, what had been happening before this, see, I wasn't even going to make that much noise at first, but I knew everybody in there, and I got a warm welcome from the Boricuas, the Puerto Ricans, because Pinto, my buddy, I'm going to call him as soon as this video's over, and if I don't, I need y'all to call me out on it. I've waited too long, and I need to talk to my friend, and I really plan on calling him the second I hang up this video. Second I stop this video. You know, I kept my mouth shut for Pinto. Went to the medium for 2 years when I was set to go to a camp, a place with no fences, where they drive golf carts, they meet girls out in the woods. Get caught with real bottles of liquor, lobster in the microwave. There are no fences at the camp, no cameras. It's small, it's only 250 people, but it's a different type of living. First off, it's low security, it's a lower level of violence. The medium, I don't want to try and mess with somebody if I didn't have to. If something didn't happen where I did not have to respond, I was not going to. There's a high level of violence. They got that steel of put in people. At the low security, a lot of fist fights. There are no cameras there. My first 6 months there, I got to thinking, shoot, they hide the cameras good in here. I couldn't comprehend no cameras inside of a federal prison. Got the razor wire, the 2 fences, everything. No cameras. But anyway, and it's not an open pod setup. It's different floors. You could scream from floor 2 and the guard can't hear you in his office downstairs. You scream as loud as you wanted. So there being a lot of fights and stuff. But anyway, there was an issue with my hussy ex-girlfriend, and this happened like a couple days before I got that remote. We'd had issues. I known she cheated on me. I was going to try to stay with her. I sent her mom like $2,000 over the course of probably 3 months. We're going to send it to her. So then she'd go to the methadone clinics. I knew she wasn't going to be. She waited to get hooked on opiates until I was in prison. We were together on bond, clean the whole time. It wasn't like we were using and she went back to it. It was not like that, okay? It was clean. And I didn't want to go in prison with the relationship. She insisted on it. Stole about $100,000 from my mom over a 5-month period. Moved, got an apartment with her, everything else. My mom actually got that guy arrested later on. I'm going to tell you how. He broke into the #1 lawyer probably in the state, biggest firm in the state, into his house when he wasn't home, but his daughter was home. And his daughter walked out scared to death. And that guy ran. They got his face on camera, though. He was on the news. My mom called him up quick and said, I know who that is. Got him put away. Yeah, but I was still in prison during all that. But she'd come up to see me, and I said some hateful stuff. I basically told her to keep a needle out of your arm and your legs closed, we wouldn't have problems. She'd being sarcastic on me, so I let her know the truth. There's nothing literally that I'd ever done back. And I'd never talked like that. Well, she rode home with that guy I talked about in the other video, the crazy guy who talked like this from New York, who was shaving his face, driving down the road. He drove me when I was in drug court. And he basically instigated it. So I tried calling a whole bunch of times the next day to see if she had got home safe, because she wrecked her car coming to see, totaled it. And I was worried. I always wanted a message to wake up to, just saying, hi, I made it home. Nothing elaborate. Didn't have that. So I called about 50, 100 times. Nobody answers. Then I call again. You get a busy signal. Somebody picks up. Nobody says nothing. And they can press the accept or the block forever button. She hit the block forever button. And I got a 3-sentence email for a 5-year relationship. Whenever that block button got hit, I kicked the wall so hard, front kick, all of my foot, it shook the walls, leg went numb. I'm lucky I didn't break my leg. But I got angry, and I got to where I just didn't care about getting home and stuff like that. I was just angry. Was on crash test dummy mode. And that's what I need to put in. Because before I probably would have just ignored a whole bunch of stuff. But there was stuff that was happening that was bothering me. These two little young guys, these little skinny guys. I believe they, I don't say where they're from. I said that in the last one. It's part of why I deleted it. But they kept coming in there, these skinny young guy, and turning the TV on the old people. Old people, hey, I was watching. Man, forget what you were watching. And these old people been in USPs, made it down to a medium to a low. They're not trying to get sent back to a medium, so they just let it go. It irked me to death. Now, the reason number 2 was the mother Kardashians. I don't want to keep up with a Kardashian. I can't stand the Kardashians. And these fools in 4 separate TV rooms. There are 2 TVs in each TV room in the bottom floor. You walk in the door, it's about a 10-foot wide hallway with computers on each side. Go straight back, there's 2 doors. Opens up to like a 20 by 30 foot TV room. Side by side, there's 2 separate doors, a wall between them. 4 TVs down on the bottom. Go up the stairs, it's just an open TV room at the top with 2 TVs. Then there's 1 TV room at the back. And I walked around the building one day. 4 TVs had the Kardashians. I was trying to find something to watch. The Spanish TV's got Spanish. I don't know what they're talking about. You know, I don't watch Telemundo or none of that stuff. And then the other 2 TVs are sports TVs. What is this? And people in there watched it. Oh, we like looking at the females. Shoot, man, I bought me 5 dirty magazines I keep for that. You're going to sit here and watch that? They'd have dance moms on. That made me mad because the chomos would sit there like this watching that. So, nah. I was mad. I was fed up. I was mad I was in prison. I was mad about that hussy. I was mad that I had doubted my mom when she told me about it. That's the biggest thing that makes me mad to this day. Is my mom is the one person I can always count on. Always has been. You don't understand the level of what an incredible mom she is. And I doubted it because they were telling me different things. That hussy would go in the visitor room. She'd act evil all week. Then she'd get in that visitor room and be like, well, I just don't understand why she's mad. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Is my mom just getting tired of her? I should have took my mom's word. It all came true. You know, it all came out. But anyway, I was tired. And he gave me that remote. And I changed my whole routine. I woke up that morning. I plopped my chair down in its spot in that TV room. Now, this is the TV room to the right. Tampa Vinny, Pinto, when I talk to him, he can tell you about this. Anybody that's in Carolina Hall can tell you. There's two doors with 2 TVs in each room. The one on the right, on the bottom floor, you walk in that one, and the right TV, the one that had the volume on, this is the one that I had, okay? I plopped my chair down, and anybody came in there, I said, hey, I'm watching that. I'm watching that all day. Then these 2 little guys came in separately, but they like to come in right around dinner time, and that's when the old people wanted to watch the news. I don't like the news. Can't stand it. Just tells you a bunch of depressing stuff to scare you. Shoot. Anyway, a bunch of old people were in there. 2 young guys hadn't come in there, and I said, listen, I'm going to be the first one to speak up, so y'all don't have to. I'm willing to go against each one of them one at a time. Don't want to go against both, though. But I need y'all to speak up. When I speak up, do not leave me hanging. Please don't let me speak up and leave me hanging. Please. Okay? So, they was like, yeah. And I'm still thinking, they're going to leave me hanging. I'm going to end up having to try to smash 2 people. They're kind of skinny. I don't know if they can really fight. I don't know. Anyway, time came in. They came in there. The one came. I'm watching that. Man, you've been watching it all day. Yeah, they're watching it too. And man, screw that. And started turning. I stood up. I said, okay, listen, here's how it's going to go. I'm fighting both of y'all one at a time. You want to do it? I said, you've already heard, before that I like to fight a little bit. It's been a minute, but I will. Blah, 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 this. You ain't going to do nothing. And then the old people stood up and they spoke up for me. T-Rex, old people, all of them in there. They're like, nah, that ain't going to happen. They're like, yeah, go ahead, fight him. One at a time. Who wants to be first? And they're like, man, forget this. Walked out of there. And I was ready. I was mad. I wanted to fight. Sometimes I get like that. Boys, they like to fight. Sometimes it makes you feel good, especially when somebody's trying to be a bully. I can't stand just a bully. Just being a prick to people for no reason. It just irks me. Now, Graybeard, I'm going to tell a separate story about him, but basically the setup was this. During the day, I had it. That was me. And on Tuesday, anybody that was in that building can tell you, I played Tosh.0 all day. I disallowed Law and Order SVU because I felt like the Chomos got ideas from that. None of this other stuff. I watched South Park, everything else. A lot of the old people wouldn't even try out South Park. They'd be like, man, I'm too old to be watching cartoons. Be like, it's a cartoon meant for adults. It's funny. Give it a chance. That was funny. I actually made friends with a few Bloods over that because I had the one where Jimmy and Timmy decided to start a gang called the Crips, and they found out there already was a gang called the Crips, and they told them, you got to go pop some Bloods. You won't be in this thing. And they were walking across the road. A truck smashed in, took out all the Bloods, and like they took out 12 Bloods in one night. And they said maybe by pop some Bloods they mean bring them some snacks and refreshments. And they're like, yeah, and they brought us some food and drinks. And they was watching that, laugh, and they sit and watch that with me. I made a few friends with a few young crazy guys that had just gotten there. But anyway, it's a separate story. I was young. I stayed out of that room after that, and Tyler, the Graybeard, he'd come in. He had a routine, studying, doing all kinds of stuff, self-betterment, and he'd come in the evening and he'd watch his stuff. He'd been watching his stuff in the evening, and see, here's how it helped him when I did this. The FX movies would come on like Thursday or something, and I'm going to talk about this in the next video when I talk about them. But he'd come in and they'd have some stuff on. He had a routine of what he watched on certain days, and he'd have to come in and all those people had it on something else. So when I had the TV, until when he came in, it could transition easy to where he didn't have to, for new people. He'd been in prison for 17 years. He'd been in that prison for like 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Okay, these other people coming and going, doing, that are less than 2, 3, 4, 5 years, they're visitors. This was his home. This is where he lived. And I'm going to do the next video talking about him more, but me and him became really good friends. When I first got to the Petersburg, my cellie was a Muslim. Little nice Muslim guy, a little quiet Muslim guy. I made friends with a lot of the Muslims because they'd come by and talk to him. They'd end up talking to me. And I guess, I was a lot darker complected, and whenever I grow a beard, you don't know how many times I heard, Salam alaikum. I'd be like, rock on. You too. And they, I'm Muslim. I sound like I'm Muslim. I said, don't let the looks fool you. And but yeah, there weren't a number of times I tried to get recruitment for that. But Graybeard, man, he bucked down 20 people. When I first got there, he's missing a front tooth, so he always made a face to keep his mouth closed because he was self-conscious about it. When he got the bridge or whatever, so it looked like he had all his teeth, he smiled a lot more, but he looked like he was just a mean, hateful person. And I heard him say something one day. He said, a lot of people think that I'm a prick, that I'm unapproachable because I don't smile, because I keep my mouth shut. And he said, but it's because I'm missing my tooth. I'm self-conscious about it. I heard him telling somebody that, and I was like, shoot, maybe he isn't so bad, because I thought, he just was an angry person, There are a lot of people in there too. Certain people, I had a lot of incredible Muslim friends. The ones that were from overseas were incredible. Made great friends with them. But there's a unique conversion Muslim group of people that didn't become a Muslim until they came to prison and everything else, and they start doing that white devil stuff and all this stuff, talking about me, cracker. And I said, you can't call me a cracker. My family came over in a boat in the late 1800s. All that cracker stuff, we were overseas when that was going on. I'm sorry they did that, but that wasn't my people. My people came over in a boat way after all that happened. So you can call him a cracker. I ain't a cracker, and I don't like cracker, white boy, any of that stuff. And I don't like people talking to other races that way either. I don't like any of that stuff, and I don't put up with it. Whether it's talking about other people too, I don't like that. I've got friends of every race. Tyler's black. He's one of my best friends. Justin Berger, one of my best friends. Pinto, Puerto Rican. Shoot, I've got friends of every race. And you know, Casey, my fiance, she's white. She looks like she might have some Asian or something. You know, we got to do a DNA test. Got kind of squinty eyes, but I look at my history of the girls that I went out with. You got shoot, probably about four different backgrounds. Let's see, like three black girls, Mexican. Yeah, there's a number of girls. You know, I don't think like that. I don't think like that, and I don't like people who do, whether they be white people that are ignorant or whether it be other people that don't like white people for whatever reason. There's no reason for you not to like me. I'm actually like one of the nicest people like that get along with anybody. But there were some people in there like that. I kind of thought Tyler might have been one of them just because he always looked angry and he's unapproachable, and just certain interactions I've seen him have with people. But he ended up becoming one of my best friends. And my Lord, his story now where he's at, I am so proud of my friend. I need to contact him too. I've talked to him on Facebook since I've been out, but I quit using Facebook a couple years back. Huge success story. I mean, it's really incredible. I'm really happy for my friends that are doing really well now. But yeah, that TV room, we had a system. When I went out to go lift weights, I passed the remote to him. When he went to bed, he passed the remote back to me. I kept the remote in my locker when I went to sleep, and then when I woke up, I got it back out of the locker. It was the only remote for any of the 7 TVs. It was in the right-hand TV room. Out of the 2 TV rooms on the bottom floor, it was on the right-hand side, and it was on the right TV in that room. There were 2 TVs that was on the right-hand side. Anybody in Carolina all during that time, and it doesn't make me cool enough. This is at a low security. It's not like I'm like Mr. Super Hard or something because it took over TV. It's a matter of right and wrong is what it was. There were 2 idiot punk kids that were bullying the old people. And they didn't want to speak up because they didn't want to go back to medium security or get in any trouble. You know, they're lower on their time. They want to cruise out the rest of their sentence. And it wasn't right, and it pissed me off, and I was pissed off about everything. So I said, no, this ain't going to happen. I'm tired of watching the Kardashians. I don't want to watch Dance Moms, and I don't want to watch the Chomos watching Dance Moms because that just burns me up. And, I got tired of it all. And on that one, during the day, I did my thing. I put it on, and everybody who sat in there liked it. And sometimes people come in, why don't we turn it on this? I'm like, no, we watched this today, especially Tosh.0. A lot of people come in there and say, oh, this weird stuff and everything. I said, there's 6 other TVs. Pick one. I said, this one. We watched Tosh.0 on Tuesday. Got tired of it. Got sick of everybody. I sat there and listened to all this stuff, watch these people do this stuff, and I just said, no more. And since I've been little, I've gotten in trouble for speaking up for people. It's always what happened. To speak up for somebody, end up fighting someone else's fight and getting in trouble because of it. And I was ready to do it this time. It burns me up. Like it's something that I can't, I'll think about it for hours after in, like how some people see it and they're just like, that ain't right. Then they move on in their head. Like when stuff like that happens, when there are just severe injustices that I cannot stand, I sit there and I obsess over them. And I obsess over them until something happens that makes me feel better about it. And that made me feel better about it. And I was glad that they actually spoke up. I had little to no faith that they were going to speak up. I thought they were going to leave me hanging. And, not 2-on-1 is not a good situation. Even they were skinny, and it's possible I could smash both of them, but the odds are not good if 2 people know how to work together. A lot of times 2 people don't know how to work together. One's scared and everything else, but it's not good odds. Didn't want to chance that. Definitely didn't want to chance it, but I was mad enough I didn't care. Just a crash test dummy mission. I'm lucky I did not get my time taken from me, the year off of the drug program, 6 months for halfway house. And I look back and it was a stupid decision. I feel good about what happened. I always made sure the old people watch their news. It was from 5 to 7. It was like 5 o'clock, I think, was like local, and 7 was world or something. Or I didn't watch the news. I couldn't stand it. But I make sure it was on for them every day. And they loved watching it. That was their thing. They loved watching the news. And I made sure it was on for them. But in retrospect, I could have thrown a lot away. I could have spent an extra year in there. And that's stupid. That's ignorant. It's stupid as can be on my part. But yeah, it is what it is. And it was fun to shut down 2 little yapping, all those people just go from turn TV on people. Just not even knowing what they want to watch, just turning it on them because they don't like what they're watching, and just like flex on them, even though they didn't have no muscles, they skinny as could be. What now? That annoys me now just thinking about it. You know, you got these old people in there been in prison 20 years that used to be ready to smash somebody at a moment's notice, and they work their way down to a low security. You don't know how much better it is at a low than a medium. At this low particular, you never get locked down. You stay up fixing fried rice at 3 a.m. My first 6 months I was drinking that tomato wine fixing fried rice at 3 a.m. watching TV. Quit drinking after 6 months. That usually didn't end well. Drinking, I get ignorant, want to fight, just looking for a fight. Not angrily, not going to start stuff, but you know, somebody who kind of a prick. Anyway, if you like the video, press the like button. If not, it is 25 minutes and 40 seconds of your life in which you'll never get back. First time I did this video, there's somebody I've mentioned by name that since has contacted me. You know, I think they pretty much basically, you know, apologized for certain behaviors, how that, you know, blah blah blah, this and that. So I didn't put them out there like that and embarrass them like I could have embarrassed them for things that happened in there, you know, like they really deserve. But if somebody apologizes to me, I'm quick to forgive in a second. Like I get angry at a douchebag, but I'm one of the quickest people, unless it's something like that was habitual growing up. I got this douchebag cousin, you know. And Lord, anyway, and other people, certain people like that. But if it's just somebody in past and they apologize, I'm quick as can be. Also, Sam, the douchebag, added a few more to it. You know, I'm just gonna show it. Okay. You, what me? You get 2,000. That's the opening offer. I keep mentioning that. If you agree to a set of my rules, in which there are no time limits, nobody can interfere until it's done, guaranteed 500, regardless of if you lose or not. They're my rules, though. If you want to play by those, I would love to do this. It sounds like it'd be a little fun competition. See who's the well, we already know, but you know, you'd spend that on a good number of prescriptions or whatever. So think about it. Anybody from the Whitewood Grundy area, please pass that message along to him. Thank you guys.